Hey Twitch, hope you guys are doing well today. This one's kind of a lame video, especially because part of me feels like I've done this video. But I've noticed on my YouTube channel when I scroll through my videos that are missing to an extent. At least all the fun ones, or even this one is just lame. Fucking this one's like, but still feels important because basically 5 surveys to me is the only fucking online app that gives good money in a decent amount of time. It's still pretty shit compared to having a real job though. So if you have a real job, you probably shouldn't care unless you're broke and want to make a few quick bucks, but they are not that quick. To give an idea, at this moment, it's regularly taking me about 2 hours of surveys to make $5. Sometimes it only takes an hour's worth of surveys if you're lucky. But like consistently for the past month or so, it's been 2 hours at a time. I'm not gonna lie, I've been milking that shit a lot. To where since I've been unemployed and want to do stuff like still smoke weed because we got $5 joints in town. They're fucking a gram and a half, by the way. At least they claim, or at least a gram. Either deal's fine. Some places sell the gram and a half for $6, which I'm not gonna be able to do that day. I spent all my fucking extra change. I'm gonna do a $5 joint. But anyway, basically, because of stuff like that, it's basically your like best way to make money outside doing game testing apps. You guys see enough of that. They just take too long for me, even though I love game testing. It's just like they're mainly phone games too. They don't do console games for game testing, at least from what I know. There's at least 5 surveys again, which surprisingly will do desktop games at least, but the only really cool desktop games was Mech Arena and Stormshot. Everything else has been pretty cringe on that site for desktop games. Phone games are actually decent still. It's just like we're not gonna talk about game testing too hard. We're just gonna move on. Anyway, so the tips for 5surveys.com is simple. First of all, the ultimate strategy is to always just be very honest. Even be a bit wordy and talk a bit like you don't have to talk too hard in their prompts to talk, but like give good opinions about stuff when you actually have a strong opinion. And you are allowed, surprisingly, to say when you try to make you dislike something, you can say I don't care. I actually think it's fun. I do that a lot lately because not gonna lie, when it comes to capitalism, 9 times out of 10, if not 10 times out of 10, every time I'm like, you did great with the art at least. Every time, it's like every time you did great with the art. I can never complain about the art. The graphic designers always do great. I always just tell them stuff I like about their art. At best I only get annoyed about flavors, which I have been honest about flavors. Like for example, Peeps are gonna come out with weird flavors which are inspired by drinks. They're gonna get annoyed with me for exposing this, which probably is part of why my survey videos got nuked because you can they have like basically claims where you're not supposed to admit stuff to them because it's private, but I'm bored to say Peeps are gonna be coming out with like flavors like Hawaiian Punch flavor, and I was just like I don't like foods that are inspired by drink flavors. Hawaiian Punch made at least a bit of sense because like it was fucking like a fruit punch flavor, so it's like all the fruit in one. Okay, I can deal with that. But fucking there was also blueberry and lemonade, and I was like, I don't want a blueberry and lemonade peep. That sounds awful. Anyway, past that, I will also tell you quickly the incentives of doing surveys besides just making money, which is that you get to learn stuff ahead of time. Really, my favorite things are mainly learning about movie products and and food products, which I like food products the most. Movies are neat, but the only interesting one I learned about early that I thought was based was the Super Mario Galaxy movie and Spider Noir. I got to see the trailers for Spider Noir early. Literally, I've seen all of them. And not gonna lie, it's kind of lame. They just flip between black and white and color mode for like half their ads. It's really fucking annoying. They're still good ads though. It's just like they're gonna double cast them. It's just like sometimes the version will be colorless with just black and white, and sometimes it will be color. You might have already seen them. That's why I don't feel bad about saying that Spider Noir, because I have seen at least one Spider Noir commercial on YouTube. So take that as you will. But maybe. And another thing is that I really like learning about food in advance. Like I will spoil my favorite one I've learned in advance, which hopefully Burger King doesn't get mad. But in winter, Burger King is going to be putting out a promotion for fucking peanuts items. And it's gonna be pretty base. We're gonna get like a free beanie if they commit. We're gonna get a beanie with like Snoopy on it. I want the beanie really hard. I'm like emotional about it to an extent. It's like fucking annoying. because I want it really hard. Where I keep telling myself I'm going to work really hard on surveys at least to fucking get $20 and so. Because the meal deal is supposed to be at least like 17 bucks or so to get the fucking deal. So I probably have to get a 25 to get the tax actually, but whatever. I fucking you'll get a beanie with it. It should hopefully be adult size because it's not part of a kid's meal. It's part of an adult meal with stuff like a Whopper and shit. Yeah. So what else? Anyway, back to tips for 5surveys.com. Besides being honest, if you want to try and speed run surveys, I'm not gonna lie. My best advice for trying to speed run surveys, which is somewhat recommended, not entirely, because I'm not gonna lie, honesty always works the best to me. Like always works the best. Always works the best to me. You can try to be super positive. Super positivity works very well. It works well enough to pout for speedrunning at least. Is it perfect? No. Honesty is always the best way to go, including taking the time to read and stuff. But second base, if you want to try and do any speedrunning, is just be super positive every time. Always give 10s. Everyone gets a high five. Yeah, but otherwise, I'm not gonna lie. It's other things I have for advice is surprisingly how the app works with surveys, which it's just paying attention to the flow of how surveys work. First of all, I hate to say it, Sundays are sometimes slow. Sundays are like the days where surveys go to die, like at least for me, but it might have been because I did so many surveys I drained the bank, but it mainly happens on Sundays to me. Other things is that basically I have to give this sadness, which hopefully this has changed, but I haven't risked it yet because I don't want to get screened from a bunch of surveys. Always claim to be a straight male or woman in surveys. They will screen you if you try to claim LGBT shit. It's annoying. It's annoying. The surveys are racist to that. I can just assume the surveys are racist and sexist and stuff, and always claim straight white male or straight white woman. Anyway, let's see, what else? Any other advice I have for 5 surveys? Oh yeah, pay attention to ratings, because ratings are a big sign of like how consistent the survey is going to be. Everything that's like 3 and above, you rarely get screened on to me, but everything at 2.5 and below, you get screened on. It's fucking annoying. Literally, everything 2.5 and below is like you are at risk of getting screened very hard. 3 points and 3 stars and above, it's like, hey, you might actually finish the survey every time. I'm not gonna lie, you should not try to do half pings too hard. I don't like the half ping ones, especially because lately on 5 surveys they're kind of scammy to an extent. I know surveys are so easy, I barely care, but some it's like I still spent 20 minutes on a half a point survey multiple times on that app. So I would as much as possible stick to the whole 1 point apps, because there's like half point and 1 point apps. And 1 point surveys, which you need to get the 5 surveys, by the way, completed to get $5. That's why it's called 5surveys.com. 5 surveys equals $5 once you complete them. Every time. Every time. Anyway, what else? I'm thinking, deal with doing the long ones sometimes, and low-key, I'm going to give a recommendation for the ones that are really long. I've only done these a few times, so I can't guarantee it happens every time, but the ones that are like 140 minutes are sometimes a movie or a bunch of YouTube videos that you get reviews on, that you're supposed to review. So if you want to get paid with a survey to review a movie or YouTube videos ahead of time, that's why you risk the giant 147-minute survey or whatever. Otherwise, the best just do like around 30-minute ones. They are realistic on time to an extent, I hate to say. Even if you smash click through them, they'd be based. I'd literally just recommend dealing with any time link that's like within reason, which I'd say max is like 30 minutes or so. Literally, because that's like, those are, unfortunately, all the 1-pointers are always like taking a bit long. They are not all the time, to be fair. Sometimes they'll be like 10 minutes or so. But many, many times the surveys will take up to 30 minutes because they do that. The ads on 5 surveys I seen recently that claims you make $5 in 20 minutes, that's a fucking lie. It's at least an hour. That's if you're lucky. Literally. More commonly for me lately is 2 hours. Alright. Is there any other tips I have for 5surveys.com? Oh, right. There are patterns that get a bit weird as you, like, go through the surveys. Basically, the main thing that pops up is around 3 surveys done or 4 surveys when basically they all start becoming, like, 0 ratings or low ratings. Now, that's not entirely real. I'm gonna rock with you on this fucking, because every time when I've completed the 5th survey and got my $5, suddenly the screen is filled with like 4-star surveys, 3-star surveys. It's like all the Gucci surveys get popped back on once you put your 5th survey. So I'm not gonna lie, I think 5surveys.com is being a bit mean to an extent and making people go through the lame surveys on their 4th and 5th survey. So you gotta push through screenings on your 4th and 5th survey every time. It's like really fucking annoying because they're the sketchy ones that keep canceling on you. So yeah. And that is pretty much all of the normal advice I have. This last bit's going to be eccentric stuff, with stuff like, not going to lie, some of the screenings are a bit weird for one of 2 reasons. The reasonable one is quite simple. They sometimes do not give a ping until they've collected everyone's surveys in a single bundle. That makes sense. The other one is that, quite frankly, the company will have an argument with them about why your survey shouldn't count as a screening, which those take forever to pop off. Especially because I remember from doing previous surveys, or just off memory, I could be wrong, it could change. They do that shit at best once a year in January. Literally. So January is a funny time of the year, where like for all the times you get screened, the workers of 5 surveys will show up and be like, congratulations, we won a bunch of arguments. Here's all your screening money. And I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty fucking base. I've gotten like $40 in a single bundle before. I know that sounds sketchy as hell. And it's like, are they really going to do that every time? I don't know. Because it was like really random, just popped up. And I was like, yo, my screening money showed up. And that's about it. That's basically like the fucking argument I have in my head a lot, where I'm like, it's a lawsuit. Every time they fuck my survey for no reason, especially when I was too based. Fucking, I was like, I know I'm be too based, because I answer everything. I get to the end of the survey. I fucking even gave good answers in the prompts. I'm not gonna lie, I don't do paragraphs, I do best like 3 sentences on a regular basis. So I gave opinions with my words. In addition to clicking the bubbles, they will still screen you sometimes, and it's like bullshit. 5 surveys, argue with them, and hopefully they do that. They've done it for me twice so far in my life. I will say that, and with my life with 5 surveys, which I've been regularly doing 5 surveys for like 2 years now. Since like 2025, I want to say, which has actually been like a year and a half probably. But anyway, yeah. So sometimes the screening money pops back up if like the screen can be argued about and they can justify that they fucked you over. Otherwise, a screening is a screening. And I'm not gonna lie, this last one has to end with a warning based on toxic experiences at this library. Some people are mean about surveys. They will fucking like get annoyed when you're in the middle of doing a survey and like get mad about your opinions and try to influence you with like fucking abuse and shit to fucking make you do their opinion, which is annoying, especially because option 2 has happened where like fucking people have shown up out of the blue to yell at me about my survey opinions on the street because they're mad that fucking I promoted a product or just wanted something to come to town because I liked it, and they were mad. So I'm not gonna lie, for mean retards that are stalking you will get mad about your survey opinions. So I hate to say there's a bit of risk with it. I'm sorry it's that fucking annoying. That fucking your opinion can cause you getting punched in the mouth. But the town was this shitty this year. I have to admit that to you. So anyway, that's it. My best advice to avoid that is never do surveys in public like I am. If you want to avoid it, but I'm not gonna lie, there's been consistently enough peaceful I've been doing surveys that might have just been a bad blip in an otherwise normal world, but it still happened consistently enough. It was fucking annoying. So I must admit that to you all. Anyway, that's it for now. Peace and love, guys.